Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of the Mr. Redder podcast. Our first story we'll be reading today. My annoying girlfriend records us eating dinner to post on social media. After that, don't mess with an engineer. And after that, am I the jerk for telling my wife that she doesn't need to be with her sick friend? Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to post embarrassing videos on social media. Can I post them on our TikTok? We just made one today and we're hoping you'll come follow us. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. My annoying girlfriend records us eating dinner to post on social media. My girlfriend, who's 33, and I, 26 male, have been together for about 2 months. I'll give it a bit of backstory. My girlfriend is an absolute gym shark and has a pretty good fit as she works out really early in the morning every day. She also records these workouts and posts them on her social media. She has a whopping amount of followers for being a relatively normal person, meaning she's not a celebrity. About 130,000 followers to be exact. Most of her videos are usually thirsty guys complimenting her, but I bite my tongue because she's with me. She also records lots of videos with me and takes lots of pictures with me and posts them on her social media too. She loves making dancing videos with me too, which I fail at horribly. Now back to the story. We went to a pretty nice restaurant and she started taking videos and pictures of me and the food. I didn't mind, but it was getting annoying, so I told her to put her phone away. She said no, and when our entrees got to the table, she started recording live. I told her quietly to turn it off as I didn't want to be eating in front of people live. She laughed, thinking I was joking, and I said I was serious. She scoffed and said no. I put her phone with the camera facing down and told her that I didn't like being recorded while eating and told her it was annoying. She said she didn't care and told me it's her social media and she can do whatever she wants. I got frustrated and told her that it's annoying and that nobody cares what she's eating. She argued with me that it wasn't true and showed me how many views she had. I told her it was just a bunch of thirsty guys. She said that wasn't true and ignored me. She decided to just record herself eating and we finished dinner without talking and she was pretty upset. I think I took it too far, but she was being annoying. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. Sure, it may be just her social media, but the relationship belongs to both of you. If she can't even be present with you and is instead looking at everything as a potential viral video, that isn't fair to either of you or the health of the relationship. I'm not usually one for ultimatums, but this situation may just call for one. You're the jerk. You sound really insecure. Thirsty guys? What, so you think she can't have actual fans just because she's attractive? Plenty of guys would give anything to be with a fitness celebrity, which is pretty much what your girlfriend is at this point. And instead of encouraging her and being supportive, you let your own insecurities get in the way and you're trying to hold her back. I hope she finds a guy who is secure in himself and who supports her. You should really stop being so controlling. You totally give me creeper vibes like my ex did. He didn't even want me going to the movies with a guy friend because he was so insecure. Like, look, dude, I don't care what kind of issues you have from your past, but there's no way I'm letting you take it out on me. So yeah, I'm not proud of it, but in the end, I did cheat on him just to hurt him. That's what happens when you're an insecure little guy wasting the time of a grown woman like me. Take me as I am, or you'll miss me when I'm gone. Well, don't you sound lovely? Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his girlfriend? Please let us know. You shouldn't post pictures or videos of your loved ones on social media if they're not comfortable with it. Unless it's on our TikTok. I'm gonna post a really funny video of Reddit boy on there soon. Don't mess with an engineer. I worked for a company that provides specialized equipment used in manufacturing. To protect my anonymity, I'll have to be vague about what exactly this machine does. During my time working in this field, I got to know many clients who would need these machines installed and serviced. One of these customers we'll call Jake. I later left the company for a different job, but Jake apparently kept my number. One afternoon, I got a call from Jake that they wanted a new unit installed and another unit needed maintenance and wanted to know if I was available. I let him know that I left the company, but that I could pass him on to someone who could help. He tells me he'll pay me 2 times my current rate to install the unit over the weekend. He lets me know that the company has increased the rates of installation and the company just can't afford it. The instructions they sent over just aren't clear enough and their engineers are scratching their heads trying to figure it out. He begs me to consider it, and I agree. For more context, installing this unit can take a good few hours or up to a day on your own. The company gives you 2 options. You can either pay for an engineer to come and install it, or you can save money and they will send instructions so the customer's own engineer can install it. The instructions aren't easy to follow, and it's company policy that if someone has started to install the equipment, the supplier wouldn't get involved since they couldn't verify that any of the pieces were broken. This will be important later. I drive down on the weekend and they show me the boxes of equipment. I set to work and I make good progress installing the unit. Around 6 hours in, and I'm stopped by Jake, who greets me. I let him know I'm nearly finished, and he tells me, "Sorry, but they just don't have the budget to pay you." He understands my frustration, but his engineers can take it from here. To say I was frustrated was an understatement. I wanted revenge. There's a small button inside the unit that changes the unit into test mode. This is done to perform maintenance on the unit, but it's impossible to configure the unit with the button pressed. It's only possible to reach this button using a pin, so it's not easily pressed during installation. Because of this, the installation instructions don't mention it. There's really no way of telling the equipment is in test mode, it just won't work normally. I think you can guess where this is going. I click the button, collect my things, and leave. Monday morning, I get a call from Jake. I declined. I knew my old company wouldn't get involved since I already started installing the unit. I knew his engineers would never figure it out. I just had to let him stew. A few days later, with many missed calls, I finally pick up. Jake is furious. He asks me where the heck I've been and why I haven't been picking up my phone. He tells me they can't figure it out how to configure the machine and they need my help. I tell him, "Why is this my problem? You won't pay me." He told me he was sorry and they would work something out if I could get there as soon as possible. I told him, "Oh no, you're going to pay me 7,000 pounds up front before I do anything." I'd never felt this powerful before. He screamed at me for a bit and hung up. He called back a day later after saying that he's sorry for how he acted and said that if I could come fix it, he would pay me, in a totally defeated tone. He tried to fight it, saying he'll pay me when I was done, but I was having none of it. After a bit of back and forth, he agrees to pay me. The money hit my account and I came in the next day. The look of confusion over his face when I took out a pin and changed the unit from test mode was priceless. It was even more priceless seeing his reaction to me packing up my tools and leaving after only 20 minutes of configuring. Easiest 7,000 pounds I'd ever made. Don't try to mess with a professional problem solver. I remember a builder decided not to pay his crews on a house he was building. At first, the foreman of each crew put a lien on the house, about 8 guys. Then, each and every worker put a lien on the house, about 70 guys. So when the buyer found out there were nearly 80 liens on the house, he backed out of the purchase. Then the builder had to track down every one of them before he could sell the house. Problem being, a lot of these guys who didn't get paid moved on to other crews, other professions, even other states. It was years before the builder could clear all the liens before he could sell the house, and he had to pay taxes on it the whole time. Am I the jerk for telling my wife that she doesn't need to be with her sick friend? So my wife has a friend from childhood called Anthony. I'm being completely honest here when I say that he and I don't get along. It's not like he's rude or disrespectful, nothing like that. But all I feel towards him is annoyance, sort of speak, because of how much my wife sees him. He lives alone and now suffers from a medical condition that requires him to go to the hospital regularly to receive treatment. I found out that my wife promised him to go with him to every chemo treatment as support. She said it's a commitment she made to be there for him during this rough time since he has no one else besides her. Okay, I had no issue with that at first, but then this started affecting me. Example, I can't go see my friends because I have to stay with my son on this day so that my wife could be with Anthony for his treatment, etc. I've talked to her about it, but she said that Anthony needs company and that she's just being supportive, and this is when he needs her the most. I let it go, but last week was kind of just my last straw. Anthony had another session and my wife wanted to go with him and asked me to stay home with our son. I told her I had to meet up with my mom and sister to eat lunch and that I won't be home. She said she needed to go be with him, and I kind of flipped out on her and said that she doesn't need to be with him and could literally go see him at home the next day or something. She threw a fit and called me cruel for forcing her to leave Anthony by himself since she's all he has and that I was making her look bad. She also said my appointment with mom and sister wasn't as important as his sessions, but I decided to just leave and end the argument. She ended up staying at home, but kept ignoring me when I got back, calling me selfish for not letting her be there to support Anthony with what he's going through. Some of her girlfriends think I'm being a controlling jerk with no consideration for Anthony and what he's going through. Am I the jerk? You're the jerk. Your son should be a higher priority than you going to lunch or hanging out with your friends. Also, chemo is serious. Nobody should have to go through it alone. If Anthony has only your wife for support, so be it. Also, why couldn't you just take your son to lunch with your mom and sister? He probably would have liked to get out of the house for a bit, see his family and spend time with you. Jerk move, OP. Looks like I'm early. I'll pop back in a few hours to hopefully see that you've been completely called out for this. You're the jerk. Do you even have a heart? Info. Why is the child care of your son primarily your wife's responsibility? You're the jerk. You just conveniently can only see your friends on days that Anthony has chemo treatments? Why can't you plan around them if they're pretty regular? It's no different than if it was your wife's family member. Also, why can't your kid come with you when you go to see their grandma and aunt? You are the tiniest bit of inconvenienced by all of this. Meanwhile, someone very important to your wife is sick, and you're mad at her for spending time with them? You sound jealous and petty. I find it hilarious how everyone is calling you a jerk for this. But this is Reddit, so what do you expect? If the roles were reversed, they would still be calling you the jerk for putting another woman over your own wife, and they'd definitely be accusing you of cheating. They'd call it a red flag and tell her to leave you. Edit. Downvote me all you want. You know it's true. Need to get off here now. My lunch break is almost over. I'm a senior financial analyst. I've got a beautiful wife at home with the kiddos, and I hope OP finds a good one someday like I did. But in this day and age, good luck with that. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his wife? Please let us know. Bruh. Am I the jerk for taking the diamond out of an heirloom ring for my girlfriend's engagement ring? I, 28 male, have a 32-year-old sister and a 37-year-old brother. My grandmother left my mother her diamond engagement ring. My mother always said she would leave the ring to my sister, who's 32, but my sister recently told her that since she has an engagement ring from her husband and she's not really into jewelry anyway, why not leave grandma's ring to one of our brother's kids? My sister is child-free. A couple of months ago, I told mom I was going to propose to my girlfriend, and she offered me grandma's ring to do it with. My girlfriend was amazed at the size of the rock, but didn't like the ring. It was a traditional solitaire setting in white gold, and asked if we could take the diamond out and use it in something more modern. She picked a new platinum setting with a couple of smaller diamonds, and I was glad to save money. When my mother found out, she was surprised, but not upset, and asked if she could have the setting back. The inside was engraved with my grandparents' initials and a message. I didn't have any use for it, so I said sure. This weekend, my fiance and me and my sister and her husband were visiting our parents for Father's Day, and my sister was excited and asked to see Missy's ring. When my fiance held out her hand, my sister had a surprised Pikachu face and said she thought I was proposing with Graham's ring. I told her it was Graham's diamond, and she said, "Oh," and that was it. On Sunday, I noticed my mother was wearing the old setting, but it had a blue stone, a sapphire. I asked her what this was about, and she said my sister took it to a local jeweler and had the new stone put in and gave it to her as an early birthday present, and mom was all happy she could still wear the setting, which she had missed having on her finger. She used to wear it all the time. I confronted my sister later that night and asked her what her problem was. She said nothing at first, but I kept pushing, and finally she said, "Look, if I knew what you were going to do to Graham's ring, I wouldn't have told mom to give it to you." I said she didn't. She said mom should give it to one of the nephews. Sis said that's because she assumed mom would want to keep it during her lifetime. Then she said if all Missy and I wanted was the diamond, that was our prerogative. But the setting was a piece of family history and sentimental, and she didn't want it getting tossed aside. I thought she made me look bad and said so. She told me to get over myself. I called her a jerk. She told me if I'm getting married, I should think about growing up and walked off. And I feel like she spoiled my engagement gift to Missy. She made you look bad? No, you made yourself look bad. She made herself look good. You clearly missed the importance of the piece and just plain old dropped the ball on asking mom if it was okay to reconstruct the piece. Of course mom seemed okay with it after the fact. What else was she going to do? Wrestle the ring off your girlfriend's finger and demand it be put back together? She and your sister handled this with grace. You were at best clueless and then made a Pikachu face when you pushed your sister for doing something nice for your mom and didn't like her answer. You're the jerk, OP. You took what you wanted and then threw a tantrum because your sister did something nice for your mom so that she could keep wearing her mom's ring. Info: why are you so upset they got a new stone in the setting if you didn't want the setting? Cause he's tired of her always saving the day and treating him like a little kid, according to his comments on this post. Seems like there was no problem until he made it a problem. Edit: OP, your sister did a nice thing for your mom, and that made you mad. Why exactly? You should have been happy that your sister found a good use for that part of the ring that you didn't need, and that it made your mom happy. It was literally a win-win situation. You got upset over nothing. It was extremely childish. Your sister is right. This kind of behavior is not a good sign in someone making this kind of life-changing commitment that marriage is. You need to grow up and start thinking about other people, not just your own fragile ego. You should apologize to your sister for how you acted too. Tell her that you recognize she was just trying to do the right thing and that you had no right to be upset by it, and promise to try and handle your emotions better in the future and to be more considerate of other people. She'd be so impressed with that level of maturity coming from you, and it would help set a healthier tone for your relationship moving forward. I'm sure she's not perfect, but in this situation, you're the jerk. But you can start to fix that by apologizing. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his sister? Please let us know. Bro, I'm still trying to figure out why he got mad at his sister. Get corporate involved over something minor? If you insist. Enjoy that negative rating. This happened last night, but the results played out this morning. I was parked at our yard in Dallas and didn't feel like walking a mile to get food. 90+ degrees at 8:30 p.m. Why, Mother Nature? So I ordered a pizza to be delivered to our yard so I could snag it from the guard shack and munch away. Placed the order online and paid, and was informed that it would be about 55 minutes for delivery. Okay, cool, no big deal. I can relax and wait for the call that the food has arrived. I even confirmed with the store about the address and made sure that they would call me or had the guard call me when they got there, to which the lady told me it was cool. Fast forward to 10:05, I get a text telling me that the delivery was passed off to DoorDash and they would be there in a few minutes. Okay, not who I anticipated, but all right. 10:15 rolls around and I get another text telling me that they couldn't find the address, so they were taking it back to the store. Not cool. I call the store and ask for the manager. She started off rude and stayed there. Sir, our delivery driver couldn't find your location, so we had to bring it back to the store. You need to provide a better address. Excuse me, ma'am, but when I spoke to a manager around 8:45, I was assured that the driver could find this location and was even assured that the driver would call me should any issues arise. Now, since I'm out on getting food, can I get another driver to deliver it or get a refund? I had explained. We're about to close for the evening. It's not our fault that we can't find where you are located. You should have given the address clearer. As for a refund, I'm afraid we can't do that as we attempted delivery and was unsuccessful. If you want, you can call corporate and take this issue up with them. Good luck. Click. The snarky undertones came through loud and clear. Oh, it is on. I called corporate office, and while on the phone with them, I left a scathing 1-star review on their page. Corporate lady was the complete opposite of snarky jerk at the restaurant. She assured me that it would be dealt with, and she will get to the bottom of things. Fast forward to this morning, about 2 hours before I posted this, I get a call from that same store. It was a manager that came in to see my scathing 1-star review on their page, and an email from corporate demanding the manager from last night lose her job, and that I, the customer that got done over, get a full refund issued immediately. Aftermath, lady did lose her job. I got the full refund plus an additional $40 in coupons and was told that if I order from that location again, they will see to it that my instructions are followed precisely and not passed off to someone else. Never mess with a driver and his food, or bad things happen, like you find yourself jobless. No drinks, no tip. So I'm working at a huge event location, and I'm the guy responsible for refilling the bars with drinks every time the bartender makes an order, and also picking up the used glasses and pints to bring them to the washing station we have. In general, I'm the guy that helps the bars running there. Sometimes there are 2 or 3 of us in a shift, but other times not. There can be nights that the 5 bars are open and the place is full with around 3,000 people. Just to give you a taste of what the job looks like when the place is packed on a typical Friday or Saturday night, imagine that you have to carry and deliver around 20 beer kegs, each with a weight of 65 kilograms, 130 pounds, and around 60 cases of beer and soft drinks just when you start your shift. When something goes out at the bar, the bartender makes a new order that I have to deliver, and this goes on all night long, from 17 till 06, and sometimes, if there are any GOA parties, till 11. Also, just to give another taste of how big this place is, during a normal shift, according to my phone, I'm walking 28 kilometers, 17 miles. Where I come from, we call this job runner. The underwritten law there is like this, that each bartender has to give 20% of the tip they make each night to the runner, because without a runner, he would have no drinks to serve. Nobody can really know who's really giving 20% of their tips, but that's another story. But every bartender is giving something, and usually it's a lot, and all sides are happy. Then comes a new guy, and staff manager explains to him the unwritten rule, saying exactly these words: "You don't want to have problems with any of the runners, so be fair. When you're doing this job for a while, you know approximately if the tip you get is going to be good or not." Fast forward. Huge metal festival with all bars open, 3 different stages, outdoor bars, etc., plus after-show parties. The place is packed like there's no tomorrow. This festival is happening every year, and it's one of the best shifts. Even though a lot of work, and it's around 17 hours of work. Yes, it's a lot, but walking home with $1,000 in tips is worth it. So the new guy has a spot at a very good selling bar, was providing and delivering drinks there like crazy. After a long shift, when everything is done and they do their calculations, he brings the money to the treasury, looks at me and says cold-blooded, "Thank you, have a good night. Tonight was a good night to work," and walks away without giving me my tip. That was it, folks. I kept doing my job every time he had a shift at one of the bars like nothing happened, and I was just waiting for a full packed night to come. And finally, after a week, it was time. Again, the place is fully packed. His first order arrives in my tablet. Sadly, I was too busy to deliver. 1 hour passes. He tries to call me on my phone. I pick up, standing next to a subwoofer. 1.5 hours go by, and second order arrives from him. Didn't even deliver the first one. Sadly, I was again too busy. Then after half an hour, the shift manager calls me on the radio. The shift manager was lazy doing this job before getting a better position there. "Hey, what's going on? Why has he no drinks to sell?" "I'm busy with the rest of the bars. The guests can go to the other bars." "Are you serious? That guy can only sell water and everything else is empty." And then I reply, "He can sell water, but no one tips a bartender for water, right?" Small pause on the radio. "You can't be serious. He's leaving no tips for you guys?" "Yep, you guessed it." "I'm sending this idiot home." Positive. Am I the jerk for asking my son to get a paternity test? My son, who's 18, has found out that one of his ex-girlfriends is 8 months pregnant. He knew nothing of the sort of her being pregnant until now, and now he's just expected to accept everything, no questions asked. My daughter, who's 20, is good friends with this girl and knew about her pregnancy but said nothing to us because her friend asked her not to. My son was head over heels for this lady, but she ended up breaking his heart by cheating on him and was very needy and manipulative. He spent a lot of money on her because she would ask for gifts my son couldn't even afford and convince him to use one of my credit cards to buy it. My daughter, who isn't currently living with us and is actually rooming with her by her college, is also being manipulated by her and thinks that she only does good and doesn't believe that she's convinced her brother to use my credit card or that she even cheated. Showed up with my son's ex-girlfriend at my door to help her tell us that she's pregnant. When I saw her there at my door, visually pregnant, I knew she was going to say that my son is the father of her kid and immediately said that my son will not be putting in any money or time until there's a paternity test proving that it's his kid. My son backed me up and agreed. My daughter was horrified by my comment and accused me of encouraging him to be a deadbeat father and was upset I didn't even give them a chance to explain themselves. My son's ex started crying, saying, "You always assume the worst of me," and that she went 8 months of pregnancy alone, and the least we could do is ensure she's taken care of for the betterment of his kid. I do agree that if it is his kid, we're going to ensure mom is doing well to ensure the baby is doing well. But I don't want my son to be involved with her only to get his heart broken again and only to find out that the kid isn't even his. Am I the jerk here? Everyone sucks here. He's old enough to steal your credit card. He's old enough to handle his ex and possible kid on his own. Everyone sucks here. I'm gonna go against the grain and say everyone kind of sucks. When you said ask your son, I was under the impression that you would be asking him to consider getting a paternity test. Not that you were intervening between the mother on his behalf. That's too much. Maybe if he was a minor, but you overstepped. He needs to handle this himself with your support. You should not be leading these kinds of conversations. Info. Do you have proof or admittance of the cheating and manipulation you referenced above? I will agree that it's kind of sketch that she waited till 8 months to say anything, but you also kind of sound like the kind of mom who, no matter what, whoever your son is dating is not good enough. If that is the case and the ex-girlfriend knew it, that could have fueled her to not tell. You're the jerk. What is wrong with you? Do you even have a heart? To even imply that she could be lying about who the father is shows what kind of a monster you really are. Honestly, even if he isn't the dad, you should not be intervening whatsoever. Somebody needs to take some accountability for that baby, and if another guy won't take responsibility, then your son should. You trying to stop that makes me literally sick. Do better. Well, what do you think? Is OP a jerk or not? Please let us know. Oh, I can't wait to read the comments we get about this one. Am I the jerk for telling my dad and his wife that her kids are not my brother and sister? My parents divorced when I, 16 male, was 4. My dad married Becca when I was 7 and stepped up to be dad to her kids, who at the time were like 3 and 5. My dad tried to ban the word step from our house. For a good 3 years, he told me I shouldn't call Becca my stepmom or her kids my step-siblings. He said I could call her some other mom variants, but her kids were my brother and sister, period. Becca also chimed in on this crap, and she told me countless times that I was her kid's brother, and therefore, my mom should be expected to be more involved with them. My mom, who I lived with half the time, but now I live primarily with her, was expected to buy them gifts and invite them over to our house and treat them like part of her family. She was expected to call them my brother and sister, and I guess act like they were her stepkids versus her ex-husband's stepkids. To me, they've always been step-siblings. Becca is my dad's wife or stepmom, though stepmom to me is more of a close title since my friends who use that are close to their step-parents. I'm not close to Becca or my dad. I ended up choosing to stay more with my mom because I couldn't handle Dad and Becca constantly bringing their kids' inclusion at my mom's up to and around me. They would either talk to me about it or would corner my mom at exchanges in front of me. My mom would always try to minimize contact, but my dad and Becca made it a point to be present at the moment I would get to my mom's house or car. My mom is significantly better off financially compared to my dad and Becca. I always assumed it's why they pushed the idea of my mom buying them gifts and including them in her life has been such a big push. They know I have stuff Becca's kids never get, and they know I get cool experiences. The last time my dad and Becca brought it up, I got mad. I had already told them to stop countless times in the past. I told them to leave my mom alone and leave me out of it. I told them Becca's kids were not my brother and sister. They're my step-siblings, and I was going to keep using step regardless of how much they like it. I also said they're not my mom's kids, therefore not included by her when she has me. I said they needed to get over that fact, that they can't demand my mom buy gifts like she has 3 kids or open her home like she has 3, that she has just me, and by demanding crap, they're making it really toxic. I think the point that got them the most mad was saying that they are not my brother and sister. They've always been big on step being exclusionary. To me, it's just true though. No hard feelings towards Becca's kids, but step-siblings is how I see them. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for saying that the reason why I don't want to visit my mom is because it hurts to see her happy with her new family? My mom, 37 female, and I were deeply close. She used to say that I was her pride and joy. I'll turn 17, I'm male, tomorrow, and I've decided that I no longer want to go to her house to visit her and her real family. Some context. My mom had an affair when I was 9. She left my dad because she fell in love with a married man, and the man ended up divorcing his wife and moving in with my mom. My dad has custody of me, and my mom was granted to have me on weekends. She seemed happy to have me and always treated me well. Her husband treated me well too, though sometimes he tried to make me respect him as a dad. As my mom's husband's ex-wife wanted nothing to do with the 3 kids they had, who are 18, 17, and 12, my mom started spending more time. Cause her husband had full custody, she sometimes acted like a mother to them more than to me. She would pick them up from school. Never did that for me. She celebrated their birthdays while she was just a guest at mine. It was hard because it felt like I was gradually losing my mom. During her custodial, she was great, but she never tried beyond the minimum when it wasn't her time. I had a swimming competition in 2019. It was at school, but she didn't show up because it was on Wednesday and her stepdaughter had an activity at school. She tried to compensate for it later, but the scar was left there. It isn't healthy for me to be at her house. I suffer a lot when I'm there because they get to have my mom 100%, and I only have weekends. They also have a 5-year-old son. It sucks seeing them play the happy family, and even if her husband has treated me good, I see nothing but the man that destroyed my home and hurt my dad. This last weekend, I went to her house and told her that it's not healthy for me to be at her house because it hurts me to see her that happy, and I can't. I also talked about the times that she's missed events because it wasn't her custodial time, so I let her know that I'm never coming back. I also said that as long as she is in the family, we can't have a relationship because I'm afraid they'll make her choose and she'll pick them over me like other times and I'll be hurt again. She started crying and said that it wasn't the message she was trying to send. She said she never meant to make me feel cast aside and that she was picking them over me. She said that I can't do that because I'm her baby, but I told her that this isn't her choice to make. She's called me every day, saying that she hasn't been capable of sleeping and wants to see me and talk. Her husband and kids are calling me the jerk for making her feel guilty for something unintentional. But I made my choice and my dad has my back. Even if you sometimes need the fire, you've got to keep your distance for your safety and not get burned. Not the jerk. You're handling this hurt in a very mature way. Kudos for that. When she suddenly realizes you were cutting ties to her because of her behavior, that's when she suddenly decides that you're her baby and she never meant to treat you that way. Did she never realize how shunned you'd feel if she didn't show up to so many of your life events? She seems pretty selfish, cheating on your dad, then the way she treats her stepkids. I feel for you. Not the jerk. She made her choice, repeatedly, to pick her stepkids over you. You cannot control what others do, but you can control your response to those actions. All the best. I have no time for cheats, so I have less than zero sympathy for your mother and her new husband. Not the jerk. When in doubt, pay attention to her actions, not her words. She talks a good game, but her years of treating you like her last priority have caught up with her. Don't let your mom or her family gaslight you into believing that you're wrong or that you have to accept it. You have every right to feel that way, and it reflects on her failure as a mother and a wife, not on you or your dad. Kudos to you for putting yourself first. Your mom should be proud, as you probably learned that from her.
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.